Is social media an important journalistic tool, or is it just a passing fad?
Well, I mean, that's hard to say, because these days, things that are so dominant in our lives as tools of communication, a couple of years later end up looking like they were a passing fad. So, I mean, where Twitter will be 2 years from now, I have no idea. But it's a great tool right now for a lot of different reasons, just in terms of communication between people, but also in terms of journalism. You know, a year ago, I would say that the majority opinion, certainly in our shop, was one of not ignoring Twitter, but assuming that it gave no value, because there was so much erroneous information on it. And some news agencies, not ours, thank God, but some news agencies got burned by using information that came across on Twitter. You all remember the Gordon Lightfoot is dead story from about a year ago, where a lot of mainstream media ran that. But there's a way of turning that on its head and using Twitter to help you gain information and to help you do your journalism. And we've seen it throughout this year during the unfolding Arab Spring. I mean, it was clearly used as a tool by those forces trying to overturn governments in certain countries, but it was also used by journalists to try to understand stories as they develop. And, you know, good journalists who have large followings, it's like an army of people helping you to head towards, you know, eventually going with a story, giving you information. Sometimes it's not valid, you've obviously got to check it out, but sometimes it's good information. I think of in particular this one chap from NPR, National Public Radio in the U.S. He's got 55,000 followers. He was confronted with a decision about his picture that came across, and this would be in late July, of a weapon that was found in Tripoli that had what looked like a Star of David on it. And some Arab papers were saying that Israel was supplying, based on this picture, Israel was supplying weapons to the Gaddafi forces. And it just didn't make any sense to a lot of other reporters that this could possibly be true, and they stayed away from the story. But this fellow from NPR thought, you know, I want to definitely find out. And so he put the picture out to his followers, and many of whom are, you know, smart foreign policy analysts who believe in his journalism. And he put it out there and said, well, can anybody tell me anything about this? And this is all within the space, literally, of minutes, at the most a couple of hours. And within a 2-hour time frame, he was able to determine that in fact, that weapon, it wasn't a Star of David, it was a Camel, and it was made in Israel, or excuse me, it was made in India. So it was an Indian weapon that had come into Libya. Now, that may seem like a small thing, but you consider the impact that story could have had if it had gone everywhere as that's an Israeli weapon, and Israel is selling weapons to Gaddafi, versus what in fact turned out to be the truth. So there are ways of turning this on its head, and I'd say that, yeah, I mean, I've only been on Twitter a couple months. I don't, you know, tweet a lot, you know, maybe a couple times a day. I try to give a general sense of sort of where I am and what I'm doing. And I use it to promote things that are coming up on our program. And sometimes I just have fun with it. You know, most people think I'm a like overly serious guy because they see me usually just in the format of doing news. But you know, I also know how to have a good time. So I want to show a little bit of that side of me. So that doesn't hurt either. But overall, listen, you know, things are changing so rapidly. You know, when you guys were in public school, none of this was happening. Well, you know, that wasn't that long ago to me. It seems like yesterday, you know, 10 years ago. The kind of challenges we were facing were the explosion on the television landscape, the number of channels. We never thought we'd be dealing with a full-bore battle for information followers with the internet. It was never expected it. Well, now we're in it. We're trying to use it to our advantage instead of using it as a competitor. And, you know, I think it's working quite well for us. But who knows where we'll be 2 years from now? I mean, just look at the way we use technology and the equipment we use, computers, and all their varying forms, that they seem antiquated within a very short period of time. And so do some of the mechanisms that we all use to communicate.